Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Lauren Rumpler Productions. Today I have Nick Gillespie from Reason, and I'm very, very, very excited. I love his work. I'm a big fan, and I want to talk to him about his organization today. So go ahead and tell everybody what you do and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Nick Gillespie, and I work at Reason. Reason is a magazine. It's a website. It's a video site. Reason.com. Reason is a monthly magazine that's been published since 1968. We're the leading libertarian publication, and our subtitle is Free Minds and Free Markets, because we believe that civil liberties and economic liberties are conjoined.
Awesome. And so did Ayn Rand, actually. She was a big fan, a big proponent of the free market and the free mind, especially the free mind. But she made some of the greatest arguments for capitalism in all of history.
And Reason is actually, it was, as I said, it was founded in 1968 by a guy who was in college who was an objectivist or very friendly towards it. And he named the magazine Reason as a kind of homage to Rand.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you today about it, because I thought that was so absolutely neat. And I thought we had a lot in common, me doing the whole objectivist girl thing. And so I wanted to know, how do you display reason and promote the value of reason and rationality at Reason?
Well, you know, this is something I started working at Reason in 1993. I was hired by a woman, Virginia Postrel, who was the editor-in-chief of the magazine at the time. And she, neither of us are objectivists, but she really helped instill in me, you know, a sense of when you're doing journalism, especially about policy and whatnot, you want to have a rational analysis. It's not everything. But part of what Reason has been doing for its entire history is applying, you know, what the founder in the opening document called logic, not legends. And, you know, and the idea there is that, especially with public policy issues, you should be dealing with facts and you should be dealing with dispassionate analysis, because emotions in this realm will get you into a lot of trouble very quickly. And you know, people see an injustice, people see something they want to fix, and if you go only on emotion, the odds are very good that you're going to actually compound whatever problem you're trying to address. And as a result, Reason does, you know, for instance, we write a lot about the drug war on drugs, and a lot of that you can see is it's hysteria masquerading as public policy or factual analysis. So people will say marijuana is a gateway drug, and if people smoke marijuana, they'll become heroin addicts. So we have to make sure marijuana is illegal. Then we have to do this. And like at every level of kind of drug war policy, you can see where they're making these great leaps and bounds in logic and also in factual assertion that is just not true. And it helps to bring reason, you know, bringing like a cooler, dispassionate level of analysis to this type of topic.
Right. And as Rand said, reason and rationality are the recognition of reality and acknowledging that fact. And you do that in order to be able to portray the other values, such as productivity, integrity, honesty. And I think that Reason as an organization has a lot of integrity, has a lot of honesty. I have really enjoyed reading your work, and the work of the entire organization is absolutely fabulous.
One of the things that's related to it, and you know, and this is something I know Rand also believed in, coming out of a tradition of kind of the Enlightenment, and the idea that you would make arguments that made sense, that were not argued because, like, you know, you can say I'm the Pope, so what I say goes, or I'm the boss, and I don't want to hear anything from you. Rather, the idea of the Enlightenment was that you would make arguments that everybody would agree made sense and that were convincing. And there's limits to this, and I'll get to that in a second. But one of the things that we try to do at Reason when we're doing articles about, you know, stories about different things, because we're journalists, we try to include as much information as possible so people can kind of independently evaluate our take on things.
Oh, that's so important.
And it is, because, you know, it gives everybody, it's like showing your math.
It's an exercise
and it's,
too.
Yeah, and it helps you do better, but it also helps other people to check your sums and see, like, okay, well, you know what, maybe this isn't as convincing. And that's part of what we do, and it's part of what is great about the current moment where, you know, when the web became a big part of journalism, early bloggers would say, you know, that the internet will fact check your ass, you know, because you put stuff out there and then people will find if you've made assertions that
Exactly.
are wrong, or you're using outdated data or something.
Right, but you have to have the integrity to be able to recognize that, or the honesty, actually,
Right.
the honesty to recognize that the other person is actually right. And so a lot of people, one of the things I talk to my audience about is recognizing when you're wrong and being willing to admit that, so that you can grow. Because honestly, it feels better to accept that you're wrong right now and be right in the future than it does to be wrong forever. It's so much better.
And it's, there's a lot of people are prone, I think, to confirmation bias, where you weed out any information or data or arguments that are going to complicate your worldview, and you only look for things that reinforce what you already believe. And that's one of the things that is interesting about Reason as a journalistic enterprise. Again, everything is at reason.com, the videos, the print magazine, the website. But, we also focus a lot on the limits to reason, because, man is a thinking animal, and we're very smart, but we're also capable of deluding ourselves. And so you want to have your arguments out in circulation so that other people can pick them apart. And it's hard to do that, because you don't want to be wrong, and you don't want to be told that this isn't perfect. But that's really essential for progress and gaining more knowledge. Even if we never get to truth with a capital T, we're moving closer to the extent that we are honing our ideas and circulating our ideas and getting them checked from all angles.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things you actually mentioned that I want to touch on really quickly is emotion. So you talked about how emotion in some cases is very negative, but I think in some cases it can actually be really positive. And I've found that one example of that, and I would love for you to add to that, is when you are kind of going through, what I like to do is file away the way that I feel about certain things and deal with them as they're coming at me in a logical way, but later kind of go back and think about, checking my emotions and making it so that I'm thinking about, well, was my reaction rational? Was my emotional reaction rational? And so you can train your emotions. A lot of people don't think that you can train your emotions and that they're just random, but you can train your emotions to adhere to reality. That way your reaction to a situation, your emotions are able to help you guide you to rationality, because you've trained your emotions to be able to help you.
Well, I would definitely agree. Emotions are really, and emotions are meaningful. And I find somebody like Rand particularly interesting as a novelist, because the novel is a form that or drama, any kind of, obviously she was also a dramatist or a playwright, but you want to involve people emotionally, but then you also want to, having emotion doesn't mean that you just say, oh, forget it, I'm not going to analyze something rationally, but learning how to, what is the proper role of emotion in being human, what is the proper role of being rational. Or trying to not escape from emotion, but temper them, so that we all are. I won't speak for you, but many of us, you literally see red sometimes. Something happens, and you really have a stark emotional experience.
I think it'd be safe to say that everyone feels that at some point. We're at a restaurant, by the way.
It's like somebody, I think, is having an emotional breakdown.
Emotional breakdown.
But
goes perfectly in line with our
it's but
discussion.
Also when something is getting at you emotionally, it's a good time to say, okay, stop, what's going on here, and think about it. And this is, people like who was Albert Ellis, a psychologist, who was a huge critic of Ayn Rand. He created something called rational emotive therapy, which is very, very influential, and in fact is kind of similar to what you're talking about. It's that process where you go through things, and you're trying to make sure that your emotions are important signs, but that you don't let them control you in a way that gets you into trouble. And so in a way, somebody like Albert Ellis, who was a very staunch critic of Rand, was actually basically arguing the same type of kind of human methodology almost that she was.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, I really appreciate having you on my show. It was so much fun. Nick Gillespie, everybody, make sure you check out Reason. Make sure you check out his work. It's absolutely fabulous. If you want to become a more rational person, checking out Reason will help you do this, because they will help guide you and show you what reality looks like from a libertarian perspective. Now, remember, everybody has their biases, so always think about the articles that you're reading very actively, but I think that it's a great step in the right direction to becoming a more rational person. So check out Reason, check out Nick, and remember, guys, knowledge is not for all men, but for those who seek it, so keep seeking.